Hi everyone and welcome to Game Watcher's review for the Old City Leviathan. Many pretentious beardy types will probably chew on their pipes, look to their heavens and stroke their beards, and wonder aloud, is the Old City Leviathan a game? And if it is, what does that mean? Well, that last question is one you're going to be asking yourself a lot during your time with this most walking of walking simulators from post-mod Softworks. And let's be upfront about it. The Old City has no combat or puzzle solving at all, aside from the feeling that you've stumbled in on a conversation between two Harvard physicists and are trying to figure out what they're talking about. It's just you, a nameless protagonist, wandering around a surreal city and using your eyes and ears to deduce the point of your existence and the walls around you. The opening title makes it pretty clear that you're not to trust what you see or hear. More beard stroking is obviously needed. And as soon as the world comes into view, the narrator begins the first few lines of his many monologues about things that make no sense, about a place you don't know about, and about people, groups, and orders that you haven't the foggiest about. As this is an exploration game, your walking speed is achingly slow, even slower than you'd really like, and every other action only zooms in the camera so you can better look at the exquisitely crafted environments around you. The point? Well, that's unclear at first. But you have free rein to walk around, read typed notes on walls and desks, and investigate the world you've just inhabited. It does feel incredibly frustrating and off-putting at first, especially if you didn't know what to expect. To be honest, it's very easy to give up at this point, and it doesn't help that this minimalist slant on storytelling, and to be honest it's more like story hiding, comes embedded in a very unsettling audio and visual environment. Although it's not a survival horror game, the Old City is a disquieting experience. There's always noise to be heard in the distance. Whether it's by human hands or just the clanking of old machinery is never clear. And each room, corridor and exterior is crafted with such ruined detail that its very existence begins to gnaw away at you as you struggle to figure out what the hell is going on. I wandered the corridors of the sewer system for ages trying to find a way to progress, to find some answers. But the first area of the Old City is stubborn in giving up its secrets. Only after escaping this underground madness did I find relief in the outside air. But that's when the Old City starts to get really surreal. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Before that happens, the Old City Leviathan plays a very disturbing trick that shows just how selective it might be with what you're seeing. After reaching a certain point, the empty corridors and rooms of the underground filled out with corpses, bloodstains and writing. Nothing new to video games perhaps, but the way the Old City revealed these details was truly disturbing and gave me the kind of chills I only experienced when playing a game like Amnesia or the PlayStation 4 demo of Silent Hills. But moving on to above ground, some of what you see defies logic or just simple physics. Early on you see sparing remnants of a battle with sandbags blocking entrances. A few scattered rifles lie amongst bullet holes and dark bloodstains. The guns look old, ancient, like an M1 Garand, and a lone helmet lying on the ground gives this small portion of the city a very World War II feel, like you've stumbled into the last battle of that war that's long since ended, along with all the people in it. In that same environment, where you can see remains that you can fully grasp and understand, come scenes that you just can't. Whether they be monsters in the protagonist's mind or actual monsters of this old city is never particularly clear, and it's up for you to decide. Though the Old City seems to be laced with metaphor and meaning, rather than what you can physically see and hear. But does all this translate into a coherent, playable video game, rather than just chin-stroking and navel-gazing? Well, yeah, it does, kind of, although you're going to have to be the kind of Sherlockian sleuth that likes to figure out a video game world beginning with zero. The thrill of a game like this, as with the Stanley Parable or the Vanishing of Ethan Carter, to name two, is discovery and understanding. The Old City has a story to tell, but it obfuscates it and misleads in equal measure to the point of frustration. The speed with which you travel is an obvious source of contention, as it is painfully slow. However beautiful and detailed the environments are, the way you are forced to crawl like a snail feels like a developer's overbearing proudness at their creation a bit too much. Each chapter of the game also adds a layer of narrative that's actually just too verbose. Finding small illuminated boxes unlocks Solomon's notes, essentially short stories that convey more detail and texture to the world in the form of thousands upon thousands of words of text. Now perhaps you find this kind of storytelling to your liking, and after all I read every single codex entry in the Mass Effect universe, but such an info dump like this all at one sort of moment strikes a really bum note. Wading through this massive information and rambling will yield some city secrets, but it feels like an awful lot of work to get through, especially when a video game has so many other forms it can translate such information to the player with. One such method the old city uses is the narrator, unreliable and unstable as he might be. He certainly talks about the world you're exploring with consummate ease and a knowledge far surpassing anything you know about until you've explored and discovered everything. But he also does in such a way that gleaning knowledge from his observations can be a trial. If you're into the kind of discovery and exploration I've outlined here, then the Old City Leviathan is a puzzle box you're going to enjoy unlocking and playing with through many, many hours. There are literal and metaphorical leaps of faith you'll need to take in order to gain full enjoyment. But if you revel in metaphor and a world laced with biblical references and names, then the Old City promises to be a journey you'll remember and enjoy. I can't say that I found it satisfying myself, and many, if not most of the themes went well over my head, but I can see why so many find this genre of discovery simulator so immersive and compelling. Despite my concerns, the Old City has a tendency to get into your head, into your bones, and despite the way information is presented, I'm actually eager to see where Leviathan will take me next. I gave this game an 8 out of 10.